Hello everyone, a very good evening to each and everyone out there and I welcome you all to this platform of PW English and to your Phoenix batch. So first of all, starting with the very first lecture, I want to tell you what all we are going to study in this particular batch and how we are going to study. So in this particular batch, that is your Phoenix batch for class 9th CBSE students, what we are going to do, we are going to provide the one shots of each and every chapter from each and every subject. Starting with the very first chapter, that is polynomials, and in this particular chapter we are going to revise everything from the basics to the advanced question that you have in your book along with some important question. This is what we are going to do. I hope that you people are ready, so let's start with it. So the very first thing is, over here in this particular lecture, one shot will be covered along with one shot each and every theory, each and every theorem that you have in your particular book, all the basics, definition and some questions to practice for the same will be done. Keeping in mind the syllabus that is provided on the official website of CBSE, we are going to stick to what we are going to do according to that syllabus only, right? Because of course there are multiple things in your book and multiple things are deleted as well. So before starting with your things, before starting with your practice or with the revision or anything for any particular chapter, people, make sure that you first of all go ahead with the syllabus. After reading the syllabus, you should be very well aware about that what you have to study, more importantly what you not have to study. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind. So let's start with the very first thing, that is what we are going to do, that is our today's target. So of course, if we are starting with the polynomials, we are going to learn about what are polynomials. Going ahead, the terms used, the degree, the polynomials in one variable, remainder theorem, important formulas and some questions, along with of course the algebraic identities that are given in your syllabus. So let's see that if I'm talking so much about syllabus, what is there in the syllabus. So this is the screenshot from the official website of CBSE. You can also search it. You can also go to the Google Chrome, search your CBSE 2025 class 9th math syllabus and that will pop up with a PDF. So the very first thing is definition of a polynomial in one variable with examples and counter examples. What are coefficients? What are terms in polynomial? What is zero polynomial? We are going to learn and we are going to do each and everything that is given in this syllabus in this particular lecture. We are going to learn about the degree of polynomial, constant, linear, quadratic, cubic polynomials. Apart from that, monomials, binomials, trinomials, factors and multiples, zeros of a polynomial, people, and remainder theorem with example. Factor theorem, factorization, that means your middle term splitting that you people have done in class 8th as well. Along with that, the algebraic identities are also there. Now a plus b square, a minus b square, a square minus b square, x plus a, x plus b, all these identities are something that you have already done in the junior classes. So in class 9, there are 4 identities, basically more than 4 because that is plus minus combined. That is x plus y plus z whole square, a minus b whole cube, or you can say a plus b whole cube, a cube plus minus b cube, and also a cube plus b cube plus c cube minus 3xyz is equals to this. So depending on these identities only, we are going to solve it up, we are going to do the questions. So let's start with the very first thing, people, that what are polynomials, right? The very first thing is introduction to what are polynomials. Polynomials is nothing but just an algebraic expression which is formed with the combination of your variables, your coefficients, your constants, your operators along with a power. Right? For example, if I write down an expression, let's say 4x square minus 3x plus 2. Right? Now, what all parts are what denoted as, we are going to learn about it. First of all, this x and x over here, x square and x, are considered as the variables, people. Right? This is nothing but the variable. This 4 and this 3 are considered as the coefficients. Now, when we learned about coefficients, people, what are coefficients? The numbers that are attached with or the numbers that are with your variable are termed as coefficients. That's it. For example, in the question, if the examiner asks what is the coefficient of x square, simply say the coefficient of x square over here is 4. If the examiner asks what is the coefficient of x, the coefficient of x is -3. So whenever there is a negative sign before the coefficient, you have to take that negative sign. Clear? So these are the coefficient. This last only number is known as the constant term. This is known as the constant term. This plus and minus that we have, people, these are known as operators, right? These are known as operators, and this square is known as your exponent. So all these things combining together to form a particular expression, and this particular expression is known as a polynomial. Right? So what is polynomial, people? Polynomial is basically a combination. It is an expression which is the combination of your variables, your coefficients, your exponents, your operators, constant term, and all that together. Now, there are few things that you need to learn about coefficients and term. Coefficients is one thing that is clear with you, people. That is the number attached with the variable. What is the coefficient of x square? That is 4. What is the coefficient of x? That is negative of 3. So any number which is along with the variable becomes the coefficient. This 2 is not the coefficient because 2 does not have any variable attached with it. Right. Okay. Now there are three things. You can say, ma'am, any expression which is a combination of all these things becomes a polynomial. No. There are three things that you have to keep in mind before judging that any expression. If you look at any expression, how can you say that this is a polynomial and this is not a polynomial? So there are just three parameters that you have to keep in mind whenever you're looking at any expression to check whether it's a polynomial or not. The very first thing that you have to keep in mind by looking at any expression is that the power should always be a whole number. The power, and what power? The power of variable. The power of variable should always be a whole number. This is something that you always have to keep in mind, that the power of a variable is supposed to be only a whole number. If you have negative in the power, that expression will not be a polynomial. Right? Now, the second thing that you have to keep in mind, that power should not be in fraction. Power should not be in fraction. Basically, it should be a whole number. That concludes the fact that it should not be in fraction. Now, fraction, as in there should be no root x. There should be no cube root of x. Why, people? Because square root of x means x to the power 1 by 2. Cube root of x becomes x to the power 1 by 3. Right? So, wherever you see any under root of x, any under root of cube root of x. So wherever you see such things in your statement, in your expression, that expression does not validate to be a polynomial. The third and the most important thing that we have is no variable should be in the denominator. No variable in denominator. There should be no variable in the denominator. Now, what does that mean? For example, x square plus 1 by x. This is not a polynomial, right? So, when we talk about polynomial, we say that no variable is in the denominator. That means x square plus 1 by x square is there. And as you can see that x is in the denominator, that means that this is not a polynomial. So, just keep these three things in your mind while you see at any expression to check, okay, it's a polynomial and it is not a polynomial. The next thing that we are having over here is the degree of polynomial. Now, what is degree, people? Degree is the highest power. That's it. What is degree? Degree is the highest power of the variable in that particular expression. Now, what is linear polynomial, people? Wherever the degree is 1. Wherever the degree is 1, such polynomials are known as linear polynomial. For example, x plus 2. Over here, the power of x is nothing but 1, so this becomes a linear polynomial. Quadratic polynomial, people, any polynomial in which the highest power of the variable is 2, or we can say that the degree of the polynomial is 2, so we can say it is a quadratic polynomial. Now, example for this is, for example, x square plus 2x plus 3, or we can say x square plus 4. Both of them are quadratic polynomial. Cubic polynomial, wherever the highest power of the variable is 3, that means the degree is 3, that is known as a cubic polynomial. For example, cubic polynomial, we can say x cube minus 1, or we can say x cube plus 2x square minus 3x plus 7. This becomes our cubic polynomial. I hope that this thing in combination is clear with you. Let's quickly recap it. Linear power 1, highest power 1, quadratic highest power 2, and your cubic highest power 3. The next thing is polynomials in one variable. Now, in class 9th, we are learning about polynomials in one variable. And what does one variable means, people? That throughout the expression that you have, only one variable should be used. For example, 3x square plus 2x minus 1. So over here in this entire expression, only one alphabet, that means only one variable is used, that is x. Do not consider x square and x as two different variables. No, x is there, right? X is one single alphabet. Either it's x square or x. So this is polynomial in one variable. For example, 7y square minus 2y plus 3. Now this is polynomial in one variable because throughout the expression only one variable, that is y, is used. The next thing that we have is, for example, 7a square plus 2b minus 3. Now in this particular expression, two variables are used, a square and b, a and b. So this is not a polynomial in one variable. Got it? Now the next thing that we have is, let's talk about certain facts. The constant polynomial 0 is called the zero polynomial. You might be wondering that, ma'am, you have said that it is a combination of variables, coefficients, you have operators and everything. But apart from all this, people, even if you have a single number like 0, even if you have a single number like 3, even if you have a single number like minus 6 or root 2 or 1 by 2, whatever, any number from the real numbers kingdom. Getting it? Real numbers includes rational and irrational too. So over here, when we talk about zero polynomials, what are zero polynomial, people? Zero polynomial is a polynomial which includes only one single number named as 0. So this is known as zero polynomial. Now the next thing that we have is constant polynomial. Now what are constant polynomials, people? The expression that contains only one single number apart from 0 and any number, any real number. It can be in fraction, it can be irrational, it can be rational, whole, natural, whatsoever. Getting it? So what are zero polynomials? Zero polynomials only means number 0 is there and the degree of zero polynomial is not defined. When we talk about constant polynomials are the polynomials in which only one number is there, one constant number is there, and the degree of constant polynomial is 0. The degree of this is not defined, right? And degree for the constant polynomial is 0. So this is about polynomials. The next thing that we have is, find the degree of each of the following polynomials given below. So these are three options, basically three parts that are given to you. We have to find out the degree, simply the highest power. The very first is x to the power 5 minus x to the power 4 plus 3. So look up for the variable with the highest power, x to the power 5. The highest power of this expression is 5. That means the degree for this is 5. As simple as that. Next, 2 minus y square minus y cube plus 2y to the power 8. So this is a simple expression in one variable, a polynomial in one variable, and the highest power in the whole expression is 8. So over here the degree becomes 8. Now it is just the constant number 2. And I have already told you that the degree of any constant polynomial is 0. Let's learn why. How can the degree be 0? Alright, see, just remember one thing which I have told you people is those 3 things that we have to check for anything to be a polynomial. Now first of all, tell me, can we write this 2 as 2 into 1? Just tell me yes or no. Come on, comment this down. Can we write 2 as 2 into 1? Yes or no? Quickly tell me. Can we write it? We can write any number as any number into 1. We can write 3 as 3 into 1, 5 as 5 into 1, 2 as 2 into 1. Now, as we know that we have learnt in exponents that any number raised to the power 0 is 1. That any number raised to the power 0 is 1. That any number raised to the power 0 is 1. That any number raised to the power 0 is 1. We have learned this in exponents. So instead of this 1, over here, can I simply write down x to the power 0? Because if any number raised to the power 0 is 1, so in the place of 1, we can write x to the power 0. Now our expression in short becomes 2x to the power 0. Now if this is 2x to the power 0, what is the degree? Degree means what? The highest power of the variable, and over here the highest power of the variable is 0. That's why the degree of any constant polynomial is 0. I hope that this thing is now clear with everyone that why. Now in the second question we have, which of the following expressions are polynomials in one variable and which are not? State the reasons for your answer. Now, we are going to say that which of the following are polynomials in one variable and which are not. We do not only have to check for one variable, people. We also have to check whether the particular expression is a polynomial or not. Let's start with it. The very first thing that we have is 4x square minus 3x plus 7. Sorted, right? So basically this is in one variable and this is also a polynomial. So yes. Simply yes. And why? Because there is one variable throughout the expression, that is x. Also those 3 things that we have. The power should be a whole number, no fractional powers, and no variable in the denominator. All 3 are confirmed. That's why it's a polynomial. The second one is y square plus root 2. Now one thing that people get, that students get confused in, that I have told you that root x is x ki power 1 by 2. I have told you that root x is equals to x to the power 1 by 2. And you will see that, oh, we have an under root number over here, so this will not be a polynomial. But here the things goes wrong, people. Why? Why the thing goes wrong? Because when we talk about those 3 things, that the power should be a whole number, no fractional power and no variable in the denominator, all the 3 things stands valid for only and only variable. The coefficients can be any number. The constant can be any number. Whenever we talk about no fractional power, that is only for variable. That there should be no negative power, the power should be whole number, only for variable. There should be no variable in the denominator, only for variable. Any number can be in the denominator. Any constant term can be in under root. The coefficients can be any number, not the variable. So this is also a polynomial. Yes. Now the next one that we have is 3 root t plus t root 2. Now over here, the variable that we are having is an under root. 3 root t means 3t to the power 1 by 2. So since we have a fractional power, so this particular expression is not a polynomial. So this is how we are going to learn about it. This is how we are going to see it, and make sure that you follow all those 3 steps and learn them by heart. The next thing that we are having is write the coefficients of x square in each of the following. Let's do that. What is the coefficient of x square, people? The number which is attached with x square. Where is x square? Here. Number attached with it, nothing, so 1. Because if no number is there, so 1 is there. Similarly, over here x square, no number is there, 1, but negative is also there. So the coefficient will be negative of 1. The next thing that we have is the number attached with x square, and that can be rational, irrational, any number. So the coefficient of x square is pi by 2. And over here, since it is root 2 x minus 1, there is no x square. So if there is no x square, the coefficient of x square becomes 0. As simple as that. So this is how we are going to learn about the coefficients, just the number attached with that, whatever is asked in the question. Next, write the degree of each of the following. Let's write down the degree. The highest power over here is 3. Great. The highest power over here is 2. The highest power over here is, since it's linear, so it's 1. And over here the highest power is 0. 3 again, 3 into 1, 1x to the power 0. Even if you have root 2, people, even if the examiner asks you what is the power, or we can say what is the degree of root 2. Degree means the highest power. Now again, root 2 can also be written as root 2 into 1. That means root 2x to the power 0. So any constant number, people, please keep this in mind because a lot of students get confused in this. So any number, let it be irrational, let it be rational, integer, whole number, natural number, any number that you see, only constant number that you see will always have a degree of 0 apart from the number 0 itself. The next thing that we have is classify the following as linear, quadratic and cubic. So the very first thing is the power is 2. So this will be considered as quadratic. The highest power is 2. The degree of this polynomial is 2. So it will be a quadratic polynomial. Over here, the highest power is 3. That will make it as a cubic polynomial. The highest power is 2, again a quadratic polynomial. The highest power is 1, this will be a linear polynomial. And the highest power in this is also 1, so this will also be a linear polynomial. So simply by looking at the highest degree, highest power or the degree of the polynomial, we can say whether it's a linear, quadratic or cubic. If it has a power 4, that is known as biquadratic. This is extra information. Power 4 is known as, people, biquadratic, or we can say quartic. So both these are the terms that denotes x to the power 4. That means power 4 is the highest power or the degree of that particular polynomial. I hope things are clear by here. Let's move forward to the next part where we see, okay, we have one more. That means r square will again be quadratic and 7x cube will be cubic. Now let's talk about 0 of polynomial. 0 of polynomial is nothing, people, but such value of x that if we replace the x in that expression or in that polynomial with that number that we have taken, the polynomial turns out to be 0. For example, if we have 2x square, right, minus 2, for example, this is the polynomial that we have. For example, 2x square minus 2x, right? If I tell you that put x is equivalent to 1, what did I ask you, people? I asked you to put x equivalent to 1. That means wherever in this expression you can see x, replace the x with that particular number, that is 1. So this will become 2 into 1 square minus 2 into 1. 2 into 1 square means 2. 2 into 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Getting it? So what is 0 of the polynomial, people? Such value of x that if we replace the polynomial with that number, wherever the variable is present with that number, the polynomial turns out to be 0. That is the 0 of polynomial. Now find the value of each of the following polynomials indicated at the values. So we just have to what? This is the polynomial that is given to us, and at x equivalent to 1. What does x equivalent to 1 means, people? That wherever there is x, you have to substitute that x with 1. So let's start. So this is 5 x square minus 3x plus 7. 1 square is 1, 5 into 1 is 5. 3 into 1 is 3 plus 7. 5 minus 3 is 2, 2 plus 7 is 9. Since we do not get 0, since we did not get 0, people, so this x equivalent to 1 is not the 0. But since the question was asking us to find the value that what we will get after we substitute the variable with x equals to 1, so we have shown what we get. Right? It is not mandatory that every time you put any number and you will get 0. But whenever you get 0, that becomes the 0 of the polynomial. Same way here, wherever I see y, this is the polynomial and this is the value that we have to put. Let's substitute 3 into y cube minus 4 into y plus under root of 11. As simple as that. 2 cube is 8, 8 into 3 is 24, 4 2s are 8 plus under root of 11. So 16 plus under root of 11 will be our final answer because we cannot solve it any further. So this will become the final answer for this particular question. I hope that this thing is clear with everyone. Next, find p at 0, p at 1, p at 2 for this particular polynomial. Now, what does this question means, people? What does this question say? That we have to substitute the value. Only one polynomial is given to us, and in this one polynomial, we have to put and check for 3 different values. For example, we have to check for p at 0. P at 0, whenever you see p at 0, people, this means polynomial at 0. This means that wherever there is variable in your polynomial, replace that variable with the number that is given in the bracket. So 3 numbers are given, that is polynomial at 0, polynomial at 1 and polynomial at 2. This means that in 3 different parts you have to put once the variable as 0, one the variable as 1 and then it as 2. So the polynomial that we have is x cube. So let's solve it up, people. Let's solve it up. So the polynomial we have is x cube. We have to replace x with 0. So this becomes 0 cube, which is equivalent to 0. Next we have x cube as 1 cube. 1 cube is equals to 1 and this is our answer. In the next step, wherever there is x, we have to replace it by 2. This becomes 2 cube and the answer that we will be getting is 8. So this is how we put the values, we check. Not always the examiner will ask you that y is equals to 2. They can also say is y at 2. Check for y at 2. That means y bracket 2 means that wherever there is y in this particular expression, put the value as 2. That's it. The next thing that we have, people, is remainder theorem. Now what is remainder theorem that we have in this particular thing? Let's check out. So, dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. You might see this statement and you feel like, oh, this is something new that you are learning, but no, this is something that you have already done in your junior classes. For example, if I divide 15 by 2. For example, if I divide 15 by 2, I will simply have 2 into 7 is 14. Now, in this particular division that I have just done, people, you know that this is known as dividend. This is known as dividend. This particular 2 is known as divisor, the one that is divising. This is known as your quotient and this is known as your remainder. So, this thing is written in this format such that dividend is equivalent to divisor into quotient plus remainder. So 15 is equivalent to 2 into 7, that is 14, plus 1, that is 15. Bod mass you have to apply for sure. So just this division part is elaborated, and how to solve the questions, let's just check out. So for example, it is saying, see, your dividend is termed as px in polynomial, right? Let me just write it down there. So your dividend is termed as px. Your divisor is termed as gx. Your quotient as qx and your remainder as rx. So wherever you see px, gx, qx, rx, so don't get confused. Px is dividend, gx is divisor, qx is quotient, rx is simply remainder. Very easy peasy, right? Let's see this question. Now they are asking divide px by gx, where px is this and gx is this. So what we have to do, we have to divide, right? So how do we divide, people? Simply, this is 1 plus x. Let's write down as x plus 1. Let's rearrange it in standard form. This is, again, see, whenever the px, gx, anything is given to you, the very first thing that you have to do, people, is arrange it in the general form. What does general form means? The highest power, then the power lower to that, then the power lower to that, or the constant number, whatever is there. So over here, 3x square should be at the first place, then plus x at the second, and minus 1 at the third place. Now, how are we going to divide? This is something that we are going to learn. So, first of all, we just have to make sure that we multiply x with such a number that it becomes the first term of the dividend. For example, we have to multiply x with such a number so that it becomes 3x square. So, if we multiply x with 3x, because 3x into x becomes 3x square and 3x into 1. Now, of course, there is 1 as well, so we have to multiply it by 1 only. So, 3x into 1 is again 3x. Now, after we have done the first term same, the next thing that we are going to do is change the sign, subtract. Cancel x minus 3x minus 2x minus 1. Now again, what should we multiply with this? What should we multiply with minus 2 with x so that we get minus 2x, negative of 2, right? So this becomes negative 2x and negative of 2 into plus 1 becomes negative of 2. Addition, addition. Basically, of course, we are changing the sign for subtraction. So this will get cancelled out. Minus 1 plus 2 will become 1 and this 1 will be the remainder. So basically we can, in short, write down this particular statement as 3x square plus x minus 1 is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. So this is what at the end we can write for the division part. I hope that this thing is clear with you. Let's move forward to the next question. Now, these type of question, where it is just simply written that find the remainder. In the previous question, they were asking you straight away to divide. Getting it? In the next question, just understand the difference in question. In the next question, they're asking you to find out the remainder. So whenever people in the question or in the paper, the examiner asks you to find the remainder, you just have to follow certain step. You do not have to follow this part, right? There are different rules for this. So the very first thing is whatever gx is given to you or whatever divisor is given to you, the very first step, people, that you have to follow is, listen to me very carefully. In any question where you have to find out the remainder, the very first thing that you have to do is whatever gx is given to you or whatever term or whatever expression the examiner has asked you to divide the dividend with, your divisor, put that divisor equivalent to 0. The very first step that you have to follow, people, is put your divisor equivalent to 0. So since x plus 1 is equals to 0, Now take this plus 1 to the right hand side. This will become negative 1 and from here you will get a value of x. Why we put x plus 1 equals to 0? Because x plus 1 is your divisor, right? Equate it to 0. Just transpose everything to the right hand side except the variable and find out the value of x. Now since you have the value of x, put this x is equals to 1 in the expression that you have. So px, that means, see, I'll tell you what this px means. See, wherever you see px, of course, it's a dividend first of all, but it also symbolizes polynomial at x. That the polynomial and this bracket symbolizes that the variable in this particular polynomial is x. Now the second part is wherever there is x, we have to put negative 1. That wherever there is x, just put the value of x as negative 1. So this becomes negative 1 cube plus 1. The cube of negative 1 is 1, minus 1 and plus 1, that is 0. So the remainder for this part will be 0. Now this is how you calculate the remainder. Let's do one more question. We have to find the remainder if it is divided by x minus 1. The very first thing is put the divisor equivalent to 0. Just transpose this negative 1 to the right hand side and it becomes positive 1. Now put this positive 1 wherever x you can see. So this will become 1 to the power 4 plus 1 to the power 3 minus 2 into 1 square plus 1 plus 1. So what we have done in the polynomial px, what we have done, we have in the place of x substituted it with 1 because we got the value of x as 1. Now the next thing that we have to do, people, is 1 to the power 4 is 1, 1 to the power 3 is 1, again 2 plus 1 plus 1. So it will become 2. So the remainder for the following part will be 2. This is it. This is it. This is what you have to do, people. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it. The next thing that you have is again to find the remainder if it is divided by x minus a. Don't get confused. Don't get confused. Now you might be thinking, ma'am, you have told that we have to do polynomials in one variable and now in this particular polynomial there are two variables. No. In this polynomial there is only one variable, that is x, and the a that you can see is a constant term. You can say it's a number, right? Now again this is a divisor. Put your divisor equivalent to 0. Put your divisor equivalent to 0. Once you have done that, you will get the value of x as a. So basically now what does this means? That wherever in the expression you see x, substitute that x with the letter a. So this is what it means. So let's do that, people. So for example, this means a cube minus a into a square plus 6 into a minus a. Right? A cube is a cube. A square into a is a cube. 6 into a is 6a minus a. A cube and a cube will get cancelled out. 6a minus a will give you 5a and this 5a will be the answer to your question. That means the remainder for this particular question. I hope that to divide is one thing, to find the remainder is another thing, and I hope you have a clarification for both of it. Now let's move forward to the next, the part that is the factorization. This factorization is nothing but just the middle term splitting that you have done in class 8. So middle term splitting. Right? Now what is middle term splitting, people? To break the central term, right? To split the center term into such two parts so that the addition or subtraction of those two parts gives us the middle term and the multiplication of your coefficient of x square and constant term should be equivalent to the split of those two terms. Let's see how we do it. 12x square minus 7x plus 1. So basically we have to split 12x square minus 7x plus 1. Basically we have to split minus of 7x. So basically we have to split minus of 7x. See how to split, like if I say split 10, you can say ma'am 1 plus 9 is 10, 2 plus 8 is 10, 3 plus 7 is 10, 5 plus 5 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 10, or you can also say ma'am 11 minus 1 is 10. Minus 2 plus 12 is also 10. So there are infinitely many numbers which will give the addition or subtraction of 10. Similarly, if I say two numbers whose addition or subtraction should give minus 7, you can say ma'am minus 1 comma minus 6, because minus 1 minus 6 is minus 7. Right? Minus 2 minus 5 is minus 7. Ma'am minus 4 minus 3 is minus 7. You can also say ma'am minus 9 plus 2 is minus 7. So there are again infinitely many numbers. But among all these numbers, people, we have to choose two such numbers whose addition and subtractions give negative 6, and the multiplication of the coefficient of x square and the constant term, that means 12 into 1. So basically such two numbers whose addition and subtraction gives us minus 7 and multiplication gives us plus 12. For example, if we take minus 5 and minus 2. Minus 5 minus 2 gives us minus 7, but minus 5 into minus 2 does not give us 12. If we take 6 and 1, so minus 6 minus 1 gives us minus 7, but minus 6 into minus 1 does not give us 12. 3 and 4. Minus 3 minus 4 gives us minus 7, and minus 3 into minus 4 gives us 12 also. So these are the two numbers that we have to choose. So let's say 12x square minus 4x minus 3x plus 1. Take common from the first two and common from the second two. You just have to make a group of first two and the second two numbers that are there. So from 12x square and 4x, we can take out 4x as common. In the other bracket, we are left with 3x minus 1. From 3x and plus 1, we can take nothing but minus 1 common. So we are left with 3x minus 1. We have to make sure that both these brackets, after taking out the common, both the brackets need to be same every time. Now let's take these as common. So 3x minus 1 in one bracket, 4x minus 1 in other bracket. Right? So these are the two factors for this particular quadratic polynomial. Right? What are factors, people? The multiplication of two numbers. If I say find out the factors of 10, you will say my factors of 10 are 2, factors of 10 are 5, factors of 10 is 10 itself. Right? Basically such numbers whose multiplication give us that number. Got it? Let's do one more. 6x square minus 5x minus 6. Now, we have to split 6x square plus 5x minus 6. So, we have to split we have to split 5x into such two numbers so that the split of these 5x will give us, addition of those two numbers give us 5x, and multiplication of those two numbers give us 36. Now, certain time, finding such number becomes a chaotic task, right? So, what we have to do, one simple thing. Whatever you are getting over here in multiplication part, that is 36, prime factorize that number. You have 2, you have 18, you have 2, you have 9, you have 3, you have 3, you have 3, you have 1. What happens after prime factorization, people? You get options of the factors. You can combine them together to form two numbers and then check. For example, if I take one number as 2 and the other number as multiplication of these numbers, that is 3 into 3, 9, 9 into 2, 18. 18 into 2 gives us 36, but 18 minus 2 or 18 plus 2 does not gives us 5. For example, if I group these two numbers and these two numbers, 2 into 2, 4, 3 into 3, 9, 9 and 4, 9 into 4, 36, 9 minus 4, 5. So, whenever you get stuck in the prime factorization or the middle term splitting part, people, just take the multiplication of the coefficient of x square and the constant term, check it out basically what it is getting, and then prime factorize that number, form the factors and then group the factors together to get those two numbers. Right? So, we can write 6x square plus 9x minus 4x minus 6. Now, why plus 9x minus 4x? Why not minus 9x plus 4x? Just because we have this 5x over here in positive. So, we have to take the bigger number in positive part. So, let's take the 3 common and the x common. So, you are left with 2x plus 3. From here, we can take minus 2 as common. We are left with 2x plus 3. Same brackets. So, one factor will be 2x plus 3. The other factor will be 3x minus 2. You have done this thing in class 8. We have just revised it a bit. Now, let's jump to some important formulas that are there. Of course, the algebraic identities. This chapter is short and crisp, but there are certain important things that you need to keep in mind, right, while doing this chapter. Got it? First of all, learn these identities by heart. Even if you just don't sit and just, cram about it, what you can do whenever you're practicing the question, people write down the formula whenever you are doing the question. That will anyhow help you to just recall the formula without even just giving specific time to learn it. So that will help you a lot, right? And please, please, please do practice a lot of questions as possible. Got it? So the very first identity that you have is, okay, let's first of all revise the identities that we know. A plus b whole square, a square plus b square plus 2ab. A minus b whole square, a square plus b square minus 2b. A square minus b square, a plus b, a minus b. Simple. The fourth identity that we have is a plus b plus c whole square, which means a square plus b square plus c square is equivalent to a plus b plus c whole square is equals to a square plus b square plus c square, and then we have 2ab, 2bc, 2ca. We can take 2 common and it will give us this. Let's see the questions. For example, the questions comes like this, that one number, second number, third number whole square, you have to find it out. Let's start doing it. For example, you have to expand x plus 2y plus 4z whole square. What you have? X plus 2y plus 4z whole square. So basically, your x is a, your 2y is b, and your 4z is c, and you have to apply a plus b plus c whole square. Now what you will do? See, a square plus b square plus c square plus 2 into a into b plus 2 into b into c plus 2 into c into a. So whenever you're solving it out, do not do it in your mind. Please stop mind calculations unless you're confident enough but not overconfident, right? So x squared, what is the square of x, people? X square. 2 square is 4, y square is y square. 4 square is 16, z square is z square. 2 into 2, 4, x into y is xy. 2 into 2, 4, 4 into 4, 16, 16 yz plus 2 into 4, 8, z into x is xz. Or you can also write zx, does not make any changes, right? So this is what you will get, and this is what the expansion of it looks like. Let's look for the second term. The second expression that is given to us, people, is 2x minus y plus z whole square. Now, you might be wondering that, ma'am, in the expression we have just learned about a plus b plus c whole square. But over here it is a minus b plus c whole square. So, how do we do it? One simple thing what you can do is just change this expression. See how? 2x. If you have 2x, after 2x, add the addition sign and make this the negative of y. We have done nothing. We have just added the addition part and nothing else. What we have done, if we had a negative term in between, we just put it in bracket, and even if we are putting it in bracket, we are not changing anything. How? Because plus minus will always give us minus, and that's why we haven't changed anything at all. But we have changed it so that we can use it for our identity, that is a plus b plus c whole square. Now one thing that you have to keep in mind, people, that your a is equivalent to 2x, your b is equivalent to negative of 5, and your c is equivalent to z. This is one thing that you have to keep in mind, that a is 2x, b is negative y, and c is equals to z, as simple as that. Now let's see. So 2x plus minus y plus z whole square. Now again the same identity, a plus b plus c whole square. It is just that your b is now negative y. So it becomes what? A square plus b square plus c square plus 2 into a into b plus 2 into b into c plus 2 into c into a. That's it. Wherever there is b in the expression, you just have to write down negative of y. So 2x square becomes what? 4x square. Minus y square becomes plus y square plus z square. 2 into 2, 4, x into minus y, minus xy. So minus will come in front of 4, right? 2 into minus y into z, it will become 2 minus of 2yz and then plus of 4zx. So this is how the expansion of a plus b plus c whole square looks like. Even though you do not have that positive sign in the expression, try to change it. Try to take that negative inside the bracket and take that number as negative instead of taking the identity of negative. Right, let's move forward to the next important formula, that is a plus b whole cube and a minus b whole cube. So a plus b whole cube is a cube plus b cube plus a cube plus b cube. We have a plus b whole cube, a cube plus b cube plus 3ab bracket a plus b, or you can say 3a square plus 3b square. Now a minus b whole cube is everything in negative, a cube minus b cube minus 3ab, a minus b. That's it. Let's see some questions with the same thing. We have to expand a plus b cube, a minus b cube. Let's do it. 2x plus 1 whole cube, people. 2x plus 1 whole cube. So this will become a and this will become b. So it will become, people, a cube plus b cube plus 3ab, that is 2x into 1 bracket 2x plus 1, that is a plus b. So let's solve it. 2 cube is 8, x cube is x cube, 1 cube is 1, 3 into 2, 6x, and bracket is 2x plus 1. If you want to solve the bracket further, you can go ahead. It will be 8x cube plus 1, 6 into 2 will give you 12x square, and 6x into 1 will give you 6x only. So this is what you will get after the final thing. If you want to rearrange it according to the highest power, then the lowest power, then the lower power, you can do it, right? The next thing that we have is a minus b whole cube. That will give you 2a minus 3b whole cube. Now this will be your a, this will be your b. Now it will become a cube minus b cube minus 3a b bracket a minus b. Clear? So 2a cube again, 8a cube, people, minus 3b cube, 3 cube is 27, b cube is b cube, right? 3 into 3, 9, 9 into 2, 18, minus 18, ab bracket 2a minus 3b. If you want to multiply 18 inside, you can do it. So this is 8a cube minus 27b cube minus 18 into 2, 36, a into a square, and b plus 18 into 3, 54, a b square. So this is how you are going to do it. As simple as that. Use the formula. Here are certain important more formulas that might help you. We have done a plus b whole cube, a minus b whole cube. Now if you have to find out a cube plus b cube, just send each and everything to the left hand side. Or you can also write down a plus b, a square minus b square plus b square, right? So for a cube plus b cube, you have a plus b, a square minus ab plus b square. For a cube minus b cube, you have a minus b, a square plus ab plus b square. For a plus b whole square, we have done that. And similarly, this is one more important thing, that you have a cube plus b cube plus a cube minus 3abc is equals to a plus b plus c, a square plus b square plus c square minus ab minus bc minus ca. Also, if a plus b plus c is equals to 0, then a cube plus b cube plus c cube is equals to 3abc. Now let's see. There are these type of questions. Now what we can see is, we can try to form, we have to factorize, but what we can see is, it is forming, it is an expansion of an identity. So let's try to compact it. 8a cube can be written as 2a whole cube, b cube can be written as b cube, right? Now this is something looking as 3 into a into b, right? What we can say, this is looking like as 3. We have 2a cube, we have b as b cube, right? So we have 3 into 2, basically 3ab, or we can say 3a square b over here, right? Plus 3a b square. So which identity it is? A cube plus b cube plus 3a square b plus 3ab square, and this is the identity of a plus b whole cube, which will give you simply 2a plus b whole cube. So 2a plus b whole cube, if you have to factorize, that means factor form and you have to written for. So this will become 2a plus b into 2a plus b into 2a plus b. That's it. This is what you have to write down. That's it. As simple as that. Right? So this is all about the identity part. Let's see some questions. What is a remainder if it divided by x minus 1? Simply put x minus 1 is equals to 0. The value of x is positive 1. So 1 cube is 1. 2 into 1 square is 1. Plus 1 plus 1. So we have 2, 1 and 1 cancel. So the remainder which we have is plus 1. That means option number C is the correct answer for the question. 0 of the polynomial, people. Since it's a linear polynomial, just put Cx plus D equivalent to 0. Now Cx will be equivalent to minus D and x will be equals to minus D by C. So minus D by C, option number D will be the correct answer for the question. And in this question, this is for your own homework, right? So you have to complete this question in homework, and that's it for polynomials, people. I hope that this chapter is clear with everyone. And for what we have done today, let's just quickly revise it, recap it. Let's do a quick revision for what we have done today. So the very first thing that we have done, people, we learned about what are polynomials, right? So we learned about polynomials. Let's start with the polynomial thing. What we learned about is polynomials, right? This is the name of our chapter and this is what we have learned about. All right. So the very first thing that we learned about polynomials is what, people? Tell me. What do you think? The very first thing, the general expression, right? How do we say that a particular thing is a polynomial? Basically, it is a combination of your variable, your constants, your coefficients and everything, right? Secondly, we learned about, after looking at a particular expression, we can say it is a polynomial or not by checking at 3 things. First of all, the power should be whole number. Second of all, that we have is that there should be no negative power, no fractional power. Third thing, there should be no variable in the denominator. The next thing that we learned about is linear, quadratic and cubic. Linear means degree 1, quadratic means degree 2, cubic means degree 3. Then we learned about simply basically based on the terms, right? Monomial, binomial, trinomial. Monomial means one single term, binomial means two terms, and trinomial means three terms. And what are terms? If it is 3x square plus 2x, so 3x square is together one term and 2x is together second term. The next thing that we went through is finding the remainder and the factor theorem, right? So remainder and factor theorem, we have to find out. Remainder theorem, what we have to do, just put the gx is equivalent to 1 and equivalent to 0, and then we can find out the value of x and calculate, put the value of x in the gx, in the px, and then we can find out, right? After that, we learned about certain algebraic identities, and this is all about polynomial, people. I hope that the things are clear with everyone. I have given you a homework. Do not forget to comment down the answers and wait for the next lecture. I'll see you soon. Till then, take care. Have a great time ahead. Thank you so much.